Welcome to episode 21 of the 15 for 50 podcast. I am Landen Fields.
I'm Caleb Derlin.
And this is your post-draft podcast here on 15 for 50 on Arrowhead, guys. Be sure to follow both of us on Twitter as well. We usually save that for the end of the show, where you sometimes don't even say it at all, but I'm switching it up today. We are talking all things draft, Chiefs draft, other teams draft, best picks, worst picks, all that good stuff. So let's start off with the massive pink and white polka dotted elephant in the room that the Chiefs took a running back with their first pick at number 32. The Chiefs select Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Caleb, what were your thoughts? We were actually on the phone with each other live when this was happening.
Yeah, we were talking.
We were both very sad when the Ravens took Patrick Queen.
Yeah, so Patrick Queen, it was basically, for me that night, I was so set on Patrick Queen, it was Patrick Queen or bust. I think Patrick Queen's going to be an amazing linebacker. It really hurts that he's going to the Ravens because we're going to see him in the playoffs. I think he has a Hall of Fame potential. Not saying he's going to the Hall of Fame, just the sky's the limit for that guy. But we got to 32, and I was to the point I was like, man, I don't care if this is a running back. I just want to be excited for something because Patrick Queen was what I had my heart set on. And Clyde was not the running back I think we would take, but I do like the pick. I absolutely like the pick. I thought it was going to be Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift would have been a nice piece for the passing game, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire will not go down on the first tackle. And I love that because we don't have that at running back position right now.
Yeah, I was very mixed. So originally, when the pick first happened and I first saw it on my television screen, Roger Goodell looking very tired, standing in his basement, saying, "The Chiefs select."
He might have been sitting by that point.
He actually, that's such a good point. I don't remember. He might have been sitting down. But he says the Chiefs with the 32nd pick, Super Bowl champion Chiefs, because we don't want to forget that. But that they select running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU. I had about 5 emotions in 10 seconds. First was shocked they actually took a running back. Second was disappointment that it wasn't Christian Fulton or Jalen Johnson or somebody like that. Third was, well, my buddy Josh Briscoe's going to get tased because if you follow him on Twitter, you know he made a taser bet on his podcast, the Times Hours podcast, which is very good. Not a part of Arrowhead, guys, but still a very good podcast. And he said that he would get tased if the Chiefs took a running back in the first round. So he's going to get tased. And that was fun. And then after I started watching some Edwards-Helaire highlights and really started to hear some of the things, like hear his interviews with the coaches and everything, I actually ended up really liking him. And this is how I put it. Maybe some of you may have seen this tweet on Twitter. You know, tweet on Twitter. Imagine that. But some of you may have seen this. I said, I like him. I like Edwards-Helaire. I like him as a player. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's going to fit in the offense well. I seem to like him as a person based on the little bit I know of him. I would have done something different at that pick. That doesn't mean I don't like him. And it doesn't mean I don't think he's going to be good. I just would have taken Christian Fulton or Jalen Johnson, especially those two. Or if you wanted to go offense, you got Michael Pittman on the board as well as a couple other really good receivers still. I think Edwards-Helaire will fit in the offense really well, to be honest. But I would have done something different. Also, especially with the Bashaud Breeland news, something we can talk about later in the show. Bashaud Breeland was arrested in South Carolina. We can get into that a little bit more later. Not a great story. But regardless, with this pick, I like Edwards-Helaire a lot. I think he actually is going to be a ton of fun in this offense. You had a very hot take, though, Caleb. At least I think this is a hot take about what his production might be coming up next year.
You talking about the yards from scrimmage?
Yeah, I'm talking about the yards from scrimmage.
So, hot take here. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets 1,500 yards from scrimmage.
Next year?
Yeah, next year. Rookie year. Whether it's from the ground or air. I think he's going to get incorporated a lot with screens, and I think we're going to hand the ball off to him. Not a ton, but I think he's got more upside than Damian Williams. Damian Williams, you kind of know what you're getting. He's a solid back. He's fast. If he gets an open space, he can make some room or make a play. Clyde makes plays. He makes plays out of nothing. He finds holes. He waits on his blocks. He makes people miss, and that's something we haven't seen a whole lot of since when we had Jamal Charles and we had Spencer Ware and Kendrick West in the backfield, and they were tearing it up. We haven't seen people make people miss outside of the receiving core, and I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire he's gonna tear it up. I think he gets a lot of yards, and I just don't see. I mean, Damian could get traded. Damian's some trade
And
talks.
they just signed him to that extension this offseason though.
Yeah, and he might play this year, but he's also been brought up in a lot of trade rumors and just recently after the draft. But I think Clyde is going to take the more snaps than Damian this year, and he could do a lot with him.
I don't disagree with you, except for the fact that rookies in Andy Reid's system don't often play a ton of snaps, especially right away. Because we saw it with McCole Hardman. It's not like he didn't play, but I don't think he would have played nearly as much as he did early had Tyreek Hill not gotten hurt.
Yeah, and we saw the same thing with Kareem Hunt. He came
He
in.
He wasn't even gonna play over Spencer Ware.
Yeah, he came in. I personally predicted before the Spencer Ware injury that Kareem would start by week 6 because I really liked Kareem, and I didn't think Spencer had it in him. He's a great back, but he's not the 3-down starter that we got in Kareem. And then Spencer got hurt, and Kareem just went crazy. Yeah. I don't know how many yards from scrimmage he had that year, but we also had Alex Smith that season, and Mahomes' offense is not the same.
No, not quite. Not quite.
We would have never seen that wheel route throw to Damian Williams out of Alex Smith ever. That wheel out to the left where he caught it like a video game guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to think of which one because there's so many that are perfect throws. You're not wrong. I don't disagree. I will be interested. I think Edwards-Helaire is gonna get snaps. I would be surprised if it's more than Damian Williams, unless he is just really, really good. And I don't think he's gonna not be good. I just think he'll almost have to be like 80% of Kareem Hunt's production to play more snaps than Damian Williams. And I don't know if he's going to have 80% of Kareem Hunt's production.
Yeah.
So that'll just have to be a pure wait and see. Overall, again, I don't mind the pick, especially with what ended up being the second round pick in linebacker Willie Gay out of Mississippi State. That is a pick that I really, really like. I believe it is Ryan Tracy on Twitter who came up with the athleticism index or something along those lines. I'm gonna look that up just to make sure. But he came up with this metric in order to just basically judge athleticism. And that's not the right Ryan Tracy. Well, we'll find out later. To judge athleticism based on a bunch of different things and like how you can work in different systems based on your athleticism. And Willie Gay tested out higher in that system than Isaiah Simmons did.
That is crazy.
Willie Gay was the number 1 most athletic linebacker in this class over Isaiah Simmons, who is an absolute freak athletically.
Yeah, he's a safety playing linebacker. So
literally.
But I really like the Willie Gay Jr. pick as well. There's obviously the character issues. He's got in trouble.
Yeah, please don't punch another quarterback in the face.
Yeah, please. If you punch Patrick Mahomes, I mean, we're coming at you. So
you're gonna get traded to the Broncos immediately.
But Willie Gay Jr. and obviously had some character issues at Mississippi State, but Andy Reid has been known to take those guys in, and a lot of them have succeeded. I think Travis Kelce had some things in college.
Yeah.
Tyreek, obviously.
Yep. Even
Has
Frank Clark, who they traded for.
Frank Clark. So much of this team is just second chance guys that are striving in Andy Reid's system. So
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. As soon as they made the pick, that is a little bit what came to mind was, here's a little bit maybe of a not off the field project, but definitely a guy that had off the field issues.
it didn't even have to come to mind because everything that ESPN said was negative.
Well, yeah, we
This guy
needed
did
to
this, this guy did this, and then they'd bring up some relative who passed away instantly. That's the only thing they talked about all night. I was like, oh,
pretty much.
come
Pretty
on.
much. That's so fair. Um, they did talk about a lot of dead relatives.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, and I don't mean to be insensitive. It's obviously tragic for every one of those
Yeah.
situations, but wow.
But
were
on
there a
draft
lot.
night, come on. Like every single he's 6'3", 215. Oh, and his dad passed away. What?
It's like if you want to put that on the E60, no problem.
But every pick that had somebody close to
Yeah,
that,
it was strange.
I wasn't a fan. I mean, I know they've done it in the past, but not as heavy as they did it here. And
Yeah,
maybe
no, they've always mentioned a few, but this
maybe
felt
there
like a
was
lot.
more tragedy in this draft class, and we
Just
this is how they've always done it, and
well, it would be fitting of the year.
just so happened that all of the high draft picks had uh, family members close to them pass, but I didn't like. I'm sure they'll do something about it because I'm pretty sure they've gotten a lot of heat for it. So
Yeah, it was. I'm sure. But back to um, on field things, or at least football related things. I really like the Willie Gay pick. He's super athletic, like we were saying. He can cover really well. I think he even graded out higher in coverage than Patrick Queen did. And that's what guys like, me and Caleb wanted Patrick Queen for, was to cover, to be a good 3-down cover linebacker. And that's what Willie Gay looks like he can be. Do you think he starts next year? I think there's a shot he does.
he's going to start at some point in the season, at least a game or two, because one, our linebackers have dealt with like pesky injuries and stuff, and our linebacking core is just awful. it's
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Spagnuolo learned how to use it a little better, and he was able to scheme it better toward the end of the year, second half of the year, kind of on. But he's inherently limited by kind of the lack of athleticism that
Lack
they
of
have.
athleticism, lack of tackling, but he was able to scheme people and get people in the right spots. And
Yeah, he learned to get Hitchens and Ragland downhill as much as he could, and to get them out of bad situations as much as he could. But even then, there's only so much you can do.
yeah, good pick.
Yeah, I thought it was a really really good pick. That was the one, especially with me still kind of wavering on the running back pick. When they took Willie Gay, I was like, okay, that I'm totally on board with that pick. Really on board with that one. Let's talk about. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to be 100% disappointed if we did not take a linebacker in the first two picks. So that was the position I think we had to go for over even corner. I was okay with not taking corner first two picks, but we had to get a linebacker. That was my one thing that I really wanted.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. I don't disagree. That was definitely an area of major need. Maybe the biggest area of need on the entire team, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Probably was. Let's talk about their next pick in. I almost said his name wrong, so let me
Lucas
look in
Niang,
it.
right?
Lucas Niang,
Niang.
tackle out of TCU, didn't allow a sack in his college career over 3 seasons. That is impressive.
It's huge.
I believe Brett Veach said that he might be able to play guard going into next year. He would compete at the guard spot. How do you feel about that pick?
See, I like the pick. I like Lucas Niang, and I thought he was definitely a second-round guy. But I really wanted to go wide receiver or Bryce Hall here. I thought corner made a lot of sense here. The tackle is definitely – I mean, we have Eric Fisher and we have Mitchell Schwartz at tackles. But when Eric Fisher went out, Mahomes was under. Everybody was getting to him. Like
Yeah.
he was just under fire the whole time
Yep.
while Eric Fisher was injured, and the line just kind of turned into a shit show. Not gonna lie. So having Lucas Niang back there to kind of add some depth and just make sure that Mahomes doesn't get hurt. Granted, somebody goes out. I mean, we definitely have needed some offensive
Hmm.
line depth for quite some time, and if somebody goes out, you gotta still protect Patrick Mahomes, and I think that's where this pick went. Just investing in and keeping him safe.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't mind it, especially because Laurent Duvernay-Tardif had a bad year, or at least a down year, last season. Wiley isn't bad, and Austin Ryder is okay at center. I wanted them to take a center, to be honest. But even with that, the interior line, if Niang can compete on the inside, totally down for that. If he can win the job, totally okay with that. And then, yeah, to your point, just with depth, because Martinez Rankin didn't suck, but I mean, that's not who you want, as your secondary guy. Same with Cam Irving. You don't want him. Cam Irving was not good last year.
No,
Cam
absolutely not.
Cam Irving was bad last
But he's
year.
not a tackle.
No, he's not a tackle. He was put in a bad spot, but I mean, he was still just terrible.
Yeah.
So I think the Niang pick. I think I agree with you. I think it's a pick where you're not investing in one of the first round tackles or first round O line, and where you're expecting him to start, but it's definitely a guy that could compete on the inside. But also, it's not like you're just taking a guy so high just to be a depth guy. It could work out either way. So I'm pretty down with that pick. Anything else on Niang for you, Caleb?
No.
Then let's talk about the fourth rounder, L'Jarius Sneed, safety out of Louisiana Tech.
Safety
This,
slash corner.
yeah, he's listed as a corner on the Chiefs roster, if I'm not mistaken. Last I checked, I believe he was listed as a corner.
Yeah, so he played safety last year to help out the team. He was previously a corner, but they needed him to play safety, which also I like hearing that because he's willing to take one for the team, play a different position of need, and it seems like he was pretty understanding of what the team needed and willing to do what it takes to win. So I like that part of him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Kendall Fuller last year in some interviews was talking about how he was just kind of learning to be a DB in college, especially as opposed to like being specifically a corner, or specifically a safety, but learning all the positions and all the different roles you can have. So if he approaches it with that kind of mentality, if he is approaching it with that kind of mentality and just kind of playing whatever they play him, I think that would be great. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to need more corner help than they are safety help because they have Tyrann Mathieu, they have Juan Thornhill, they have Dan Sorensen, they have Armani Watts, all back there. So hopefully, he can play corner, especially with the Breeland news. Do we want to just talk about that now as we're on the corner topic?
Yeah, we might as
We can talk
well.
about it a little bit.
Rashad Breeland, boneheaded move on his part, but
Yeah, not great. I'm not even 100% sure what the situation is here.
yeah, I mean it's still kind of vague. He got charged with like open container,
Yeah.
and possession of marijuana under like 28 grams or something like that.
Yeah, I'm reading a story here on ESPN, just trying to get some of the highlights here. Apparently a taser was pulled as well as a firearm. That's not good. There was marijuana as well as, ironically, Corona beer in the car. Apparently Breeland resisted arrest. That is not good. That is probably the worst part. As far as him personally.
Yeah.
He was released from jail. He made bail last night, I think it said. So I don't know. Patrick Chung was charged with cocaine possession and didn't miss a game, didn't miss a snap. So I doubt anything too serious comes from this, but it's definitely not good.
No, it's not a good look for sure. Rashad Breeland signed a 1-year contract. He probably won't get cut after this, but this is probably his last season, I would think, on a 1-year contract. He was kind of looking for a new home this offseason, I think, but ended up signing back with the Chiefs. So I guess we'll revisit that this next offseason. But
Here's some news that I actually did not know. I don't know if you knew this, Caleb, but according to Tom Pelissero on Twitter, this is his tweet. He says, hashtag Chiefs cornerback Bashad Breeland, who was arrested Tuesday on multiple charges, including marijuana possession, was already facing a 4-game suspension for a separate violation of the substance abuse policy. Sources tell me and Mike Garafolo. Breeland is appealing. Did you know he was facing a suspension already?
yeah, I did see that.
Maybe I missed that.
When all this news is breaking. So there's probably going to be an added suspension. He could be out for half the season.
Yeah, that would suck. I did not. I don't know if I just forgot that or if I missed that somewhere, but that's not good. Yeah, I would not like to have him out for half a year.
No, but good thing we picked 2 corners in the draft here. So I guess we can get back to that. Rashad Breeland obviously messed up. So we'll learn more about that in the next coming weeks probably.
Yeah, I'm sure more news will come out about that as we go along.
He will probably be out for another game or two. So
yeah. Well, that takes us to pick number 5, Michael Dana, edge out of Michigan. This was the least exciting pick that they had all night or all this whole draft.
Yeah.
This pick especially, maybe he could develop into something, I don't know, obviously. This pick more than any really felt like, okay, you got a guy to, play the punt team.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't – I don't see him developing into anything that we're going to really utilize too much on the defense. He might play a snap here or there, but special teams guy, he's just not too exciting. Not too much upside for us to look at. Hopefully this turns into a J.J. Watt thing where we're just talking crap on him and he turns into the league's best pass rusher, but I don't see that happening. So
no, I don't either.
Just I don't know. Hopefully they saw something that we don't see in him, but I don't think Michael Dana is going to be too prominent in this defense in the next coming years.
No, a little bit of depth never hurt anybody, but it definitely doesn't feel like they picked him with any intention of him actually ever factoring into the rotation.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's just me. Which leads us to the best name of the Chiefs draft, if not just the draft. Corner out of Tulane, Vicarious, and he doesn't want you to call him Vicarious. That name is amazing anyway. He goes by Bo Pete. Vicarious Bo Pete Keys.
I love the name. I like the character. I've looked into him a little bit, and I think he has a shot to develop into something. Obviously, 7th-round picks aren't going to come in and start right away, but he could.
Yeah.
He got some upside, and hopefully we can develop him into a nice D-back. And I mean, Charvarius Ward was an undrafted free agent, right? So
yeah.
If we can develop him into even a Charvarius Ward type talent, that's a success in my book. So.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I saw him compared to L'Jarius Sneed. So obviously L'Jarius Sneed taken 3 rounds earlier. Who knows? Yeah, with these kind of picks, take a flyer on a developmental guy. Try to get a guy that you think you can turn into a next Charvarius Ward, guy that can actually contribute and make some plays for you. I like the pick. I like getting another corner. It is weird how it feels like Brett Veach does not value corners very much, though.
Yeah, and he really hasn't made a move for any big corners. We got Rashad Breeland in free agency last year, and we traded for Kendall Fuller. But outside of that, we haven't drafted corners high.
Kendall Fuller is easily the biggest move regarding a corner, outside of Tyrann Mathieu. Um, that's a little bit odd too. They've actually had a lot of buzz with safeties.
Yeah.
Tyrann Mathieu. They draft Juan Thornhill in the second round. Stuff like that. They even drafted Armani Watts. He was either a high fourth round or late third round pick. Uh, two drafts ago. 2 drafts
Yeah, I think
ago.
it was 2 drafts ago.
But with corner, it just feels like, okay, so we trade Parker Anger for an undrafted free agent, and that works out. We do trade for Kendall Fuller, but
But just
then
like low risk, low reward type situations here.
yeah, yeah, and again, like, hey, if it works out like Travarius Ward every time, great, that's awesome. But it's probably not going to work out like Travarius Ward every time when you're talking about undrafted free agents. Like, there's a reason they were undrafted.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the thought process is there. Also, because there were so many corners on the free agent market this year that signed like 1 year $3.5 million deals or 1 year $6 million deals, anywhere in between there, that it feels like the Chiefs could have taken a flyer on. Even a guy like Ronald Darby kind of coming off an injury year.
And
it really feels like they could have taken a flyer there and didn't, and I don't know why.
like Chris Harris, AJ Boye, they teams, 2 very good corners, day one starters, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. We just don't take corner, and hopefully it works out for us. I mean, corner play wasn't horrendous this year. It wasn't best, but
hey, they won the Super Bowl.
We definitely had a lot of rough spots, but we started playing well when it mattered. So
yeah, and hey, if Bo Pete Keys can start and they make announcers say Bo Pete Keys every week, that will be a success of a pick.
That would be awesome.
I'll say that. What would you say the Chiefs' draft grade is overall?
I'll go with a B.
I think I would say a B plus. Perfectly fine. I would have maybe done a couple things different. I'm not a GM. I just would have done a couple things differently. I don't hate any of these picks. I really only love one of them, though. Maybe you could say 2 with L'Jarius Sneed. But I'd say B plus. It was a good draft. They did address some needs. They got a lot of good players. I just wish maybe they'd gotten a couple really good players at different positions. That's all that I can really say about that. Let's talk about what team do you believe had the best overall draft from top to bottom? Do you think it was the Chiefs? Do you think it was someone else? If you gave the Chiefs a B, I would imagine someone else you thought did better.
I really think that the Dolphins put together a really good draft. They didn't have to trade up to get Tua. They didn't lose anything there, and there was a lot of speculation that he was either going to get traded up and taken before the Dolphins, or the Dolphins are going to have to trade up and get him. And they got him at 5, which is a big dub. They got a tackle to protect Tua. They got some good talent in the second round. I'd have to go look. I remember. Hold on. Yeah. So the Dolphins got an offensive guard in the second round, and they also picked up Raekwon Davis in the second round. I think they just got a lot of talent. Obviously, came in with a lot of picks, and you're going to do good things when you draft well with 12, 13 picks, whatever they came in with. But
right,
they had a great draft in my book.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Dolphins actually did do really, really well. I was just looking at a couple teams here trying to determine who I thought had the best draft. I do really like the Vikings draft. They had a lot of picks. I believe they ended up with 15 picks. They had a really nice draft. They add Justin Jefferson, Jeff Gladney, Ezra Cleveland, Cameron Dantzler, James Lynch, Troy Dye. They had some good names.
Ezra Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really solid draft for the Vikings. Another team that I thought did really well was the Lions. They didn't add as much on defense as I thought they would, especially in the early rounds. Even though they went with Okudah at number 3, they went Julian Okwara, edge out of Notre Dame, with the 3rd overall pick in the 3rd round, so 67 overall in the draft. But they added DeAndre Swift, who's going to be a good player. They added 2 guards. They also added Quintez Cephas all in the first 5 rounds. So I think I would end up settling on the Vikings for having the best draft, maybe outside of the Dolphins, because I really think the Dolphins probably had the best overall draft. But just in the interest of being different, I will say the Vikings.
Yeah, and another team that I think had an amazing draft, I'm going to go with the Bengals because they obviously got Joe Burrow, who I think was the best quarterback in the draft. Some people say Tua, and there's some argument there. He went to 5 because of injury problems. He probably would be number 1 or 2. They probably would have went 1 and 2 in this draft if Tua did not have any injury issues. But they got Joe Burrow. They went and got T. Higgins in the 2nd round, and they picked up Logan Wilson in the 3rd round. So a lot of great talent there.
Yeah.
I think they had a really good draft as well.
A name that I don't really want to say on this podcast, but hey, the Denver Broncos had a good draft. They got Jerry Jeudy. They got KJ Hamler, 2 really good receivers. They also got Drew Lock's college tight end. I don't want to try to pronounce his name because it's just going to be brutal.
It's but Albert Okubunam or something.
It's let me give it a go.
I think in his Twitter he might have the pronunciation.
It is Albert Okwebunam, maybe?
Okwebunam? I don't know.
But they added a lot of weapons. They added just a lot of offensive pieces all around, as well as even a guy like Tyree Cleveland out of Florida in the 7th round, who might be a nice little pick. They got Natane Muti from Fresno State, who had been super plagued by injuries in college, but based on his tape in college, he had like 1st round level talent. It was just an injury problem. If he can stay healthy, he could be great. Really good draft for the Broncos. Really, I mean, they I think honestly they nailed it.
Okwebunam.
Okwebunam. All right.
I think that's the name.
Well, as long as we got that settled.
There you go. What a name.
It is a good name. A lot of good names in this draft. Who do you think had the worst draft?
The worst draft.
I know who I think had the worst draft. At least the most perplexing draft.
Big word, sir.
Thank you.
I did not like the Giants draft. I think at number 4 they should have went with someone other than Andrew Thomas.
I think that is going to be a take that proves to be just horrifyingly incorrect, but
I don't know if they had a bad draft though, because they went with Xavier McKinney in the 2nd round, who was definitely a 1st round talent.
Yeah, McKinney was a nice pick in the 2nd round.
I don't know. Maybe the Chargers. The Chargers, I don't like Justin Herbert at 6. I don't like Justin Herbert in the 1st round, to be honest. I think he was the most overrated quarterback in this draft. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Chargers. I think they totally blew this one.
Herbert is a guy. He has, I think,
he's
arguably he has the best arm in the draft and the worst brain.
Yeah. Sounds like Josh Allen.
Is your roommate in there?
No, I keep on scrolling down and there's an ad that keeps.
I'm Clint.
Yeah.
Hi, Clint.
No, but every time I switch these rounds and I scroll to the bottom, it plays.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'll tell you who I think had the strangest draft out of anybody: the Green Bay Packers.
Oh my!
Don't understand any of it. I get the Jordan Love pick would be a pick that I was actually on board with it until like the Rodgers contract details became, or at least that I started learning about the specifics of the Rodgers contract deals.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what are they doing? He's not tradable for like 3 years.
No, and now that you mentioned the Packers, I got another team that also had a just bonehead draft. The Eagles. I mean, they went and take Jalen Reagor while well, no, I was thinking of Henry Ruggs. But the Eagles, they went and took Jalen Reagor, which is a good pick. But Jalen Hurts, what?
They just like Jalen's, man.
I guess. But yeah, the Packers with Jordan Love, they blew my mind. I don't know what the heck they were doing.
It's just strange. And then after that, they get a second round pick and they take a running back.
Yeah, like they have Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
And
he's good.
He's amazing. And they've got Aaron Rodgers. They just went to the NFC Championship game, and Aaron Rodgers literally has one weapon. And besides a running back, which they took in the second round.
They don't even have washed up Jimmy Graham anymore.
They have Devontae Adams, and that's it. I couldn't even name a second receiver for them. They're just
I can, but it's all sad.
Yeah, they're not good.
Yeah, if you think I don't even know his first name, last name Kumaro or Geronimo Allison.
Yeah.
Or Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Or there's another one. I don't even know. They're all bad.
Decent receivers, but like they're not.
Do they have Alan Lazard?
I have no idea, but
I don't know.
None of them are people that you want at wide receiver 2.
No, that's what I was saying earlier.
And maybe one of them, like maybe Valdez-Scantling, could be a guy you want in the slot, but there's not a whole lot of them you want in the slot either. Like they're just guys like Byron Pringle that sit on special teams.
Yeah, it was so strange because then after that you draft a tight end from Cincinnati who they said they want to use like Kyle Juszczyk. That might be my least favorite pick of this entire draft. Yeah,
third round you don't take it. As good as Kyle Juszczyk is, you don't take him in the third round.
No.
He's a 5th, 6th round guy. I mean,
Aaron Rodgers is about to have the most mishandled, misused career in the history of the NFL.
One Super Bowl. I'm glad he got it. My boy Jordy, but
because he ain't getting one more.
No, absolutely not.
Not with Green Bay.
He would have to do the hardest carry in sports history, and we've seen Michael Jordan in the Bulls.
Yeah. They got clapped in their last 2 NFC Championship game appearances.
I was making a reference to The Last Dance. I'm not making a reference to Jordan actually carrying the whole franchise because I know he had stars. I'm done.
I still haven't seen the last 2 episodes of The Last Dance.
I just didn't want anybody.
3 and 4.
I just didn't want anybody coming at me like Michael Jordan didn't have any stars on this team.
Scottie Pippen's overrated. You heard me. It's a joke. Scottie Pippen was great. I don't think Scottie Pippen was overrated.
Dennis Rodman was
a
terrible rebounder.
No defense. No effort.
Yeah, no effort.
Weirdo. That one's true.
Watch out. He might come after you.
You know who is overrated, though? Josiah DeGuara, or however the heck you pronounce his name. Tight end at Cincinnati. I don't get it. Whatever. Packers had a really weird draft. Was there any team, maybe one of the contending teams, did you think any of the contending teams really elevated themselves or really like got better?
I think the Ravens made some good picks.
That was going to be what I was going to say as well.
Yeah, the Ravens they got some good guys in their front office. They're obviously going to make good picks. I think the Ravens-Chiefs could be a good rivalry for years to come. We'll see how long Lamar lasts at his production level. Because we haven't really seen players like him last very long. If he does it for 8 years, I mean, hats off to you, man. I'd love to see Lamar do that for 8 years because it's exciting to watch. But I don't see it lasting too long. But, I mean, Harbaugh probably knows that. Harbaugh's a very smart guy. If we see it, then he probably sees it. But they're doing a very good job right now. I think they're going to be contenders this year. And we'll see how long that offense stays together and is one of the best in the NFL. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. I think the Ravens had a really nice draft, a scary nice draft, to be honest, especially when you realize they added Calais Campbell to that defense too.
And
they're going to be really good.
I will say my cousin is a 49ers fan, and he was not happy with their picks at all. But I think they got some really good value of where they were picking. They picked up Javon Kinlaw at 14, who could have been a top 10 guy. If Derek Brown was not in this draft, who is a Chris Jones, Aaron Donald type talent, then Javon Kinlaw would have been the top D tackle, and it would have been close. But Derek Brown, just a generational talent, and Javon Kinlaw, the second best D tackle in the draft, was one of the best players in this draft, in my opinion. And then they go down here at 25 and take Brandon Ayuk, who is going to be an amazing athletic receiver.
One of my favorite receivers of the class.
Yeah.
Really like Ayuk. I was kind of ticked when the Niners took him. It's like, man, they got a good player. I was kind of hoping he'd be there for the Chiefs.
Yeah, he's going to replace Emmanuel Sanders pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked their 2 picks, to be honest. I think it fit what they needed. You think that's going to be about it for this show?
Oh, yeah, I think. I don't have a whole lot more to say.
Yeah, no, me either.
It
was a fun
want
draft.
us to quit talking anyway, so.
Yeah, no kidding. Once again, I'm Landon Fields.
I'm Caleb Derlin.
You can follow me on Twitter at Fields_Lando.
And you can follow me on Twitter, CDerlin53.
There it is. What does the 53 stand for again?
That was my football number in high school.
That makes sense. I don't know when we're going to have another podcast.
Yeah,
who knows?
Pretty uneventful until training camp, and we'll see if
training camp happens.
That's going to happen. See if it's open to public. Probably not.
We're halfway through the off season if the season starts on time.
I've heard rumors that the season might start late, and they might get rid of preseason. And
please get rid of preseason.
We'll see. No, but I have seen that they might be getting rid of preseason this year, and
get rid of it forever. Don't bring it back.
And get rid of the bye week. That would buy them 5 weeks. So.
Wow. Getting rid of the bye week's not going to go over well, but
it's not going to go over well. But if they have no other choice,
yeah,
then they have no other choice. So
that's true. Well, we will wait and see. If any huge news for the Chiefs drops, I'm sure we'll be back with an episode. I'm sure we'll be back with an episode at some point, doing some sort of season preview or off-season review kind of episode. Thank you so much for listening. Check out all the rest of the great content here on Arrowhead Guys. As well as the Arrowhead Guys YouTube and all that, which I believe we're on right now. If I'm not mistaken, we should be on YouTube as I'm speaking. It's probably where you're watching this, if you're watching this. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And just, stay updated on our Twitters. Eventually, we'll have another podcast, and eventually we'll tweet about it. So keep up with us on there. Get me 100 followers. I'm at like 87. I'll need 13 more. Just 13. That's it.
Yeah, try and get me to 500, guys.
Well, see, look at that. He has a lot more than I do. But he's also a way more talented human being than I am.
I wouldn't go that far. I just bore myself on Twitter more often than you.
That's fair. Well, that's gonna be about it. So stay safe out there. Don't lick doorknobs. Don't lick the Walmart doors or anything. Just keep your hands to yourself and then wash them when you get home. Wear a mask.
Good Chiefs.
Bye.